Fire, fire.
A jubilant Virgin Galactic founder Sir Richard Branson celebrated the experience of a lifetime as one of 6 passengers aboard what was officially the first passenger flight to the edge of space on Sunday morning. All the other people on the Unity 22 spacecraft were Virgin employees, but it was the first flight after the FAA granted approval for commercial service to the lower edge of space.
To all you kids down there, I was once a child with a dream, looking up to the stars. Now I'm an adult in a spaceship with lots of other wonderful adults looking down to our beautiful, beautiful Earth.
Space is Virgin territory, said one of the several commentators on the live video feed as the spacecraft reached about 85 kilometers in altitude and performed its feather maneuver, rolling inverted to maximize the view of the Earth below for the occupants. After about 3.5 minutes of weightlessness, in which Branson and his fellow passengers unstrapped to float freely in the spacious cabin, the spacecraft headed home. I wonder what humankind will achieve in aviation within the next 10 or 20 years. My number one ambition is to see the Earth from space, and the odds seems to be getting better. Fingers crossed it becomes affordable before I die. But now it's time for more great aviation stories in our one-of-a-kind air sports news. I'm your host, REGAN TETLOW. To the skies. The third FAI Paragliding Aerobatic Championships have launched on July the 9th in the town of Trasitasis in Friuli, Venezia Giulia in Italy. The event is organised by the Aero Club Liga Piloti, Aero Club Blue Phoenix and Volo Libretto Friuli. After training days until the 16th of July, pilots will compete in the contest Flying Days. The prize-giving ceremony is planned for July 17th. 29 pilots from 10 nations competed for the title of the World Champion in solo and synchro categories. The nations presented at the championships are Austria, Colombia, the Czech Republic, France, Germany, Italy, the Netherlands, Spain, Switzerland and Uruguay. The pilots launched from Monte San Simeone, takeoff set at an altitude of 1,180 meters above sea level. They're performing acro maneuvers over the Tricomini Lake. So who has never dreamed of flying simply by spreading their arms? To fly for real over a 3-kilometer range with the speed of 250 kilometers an hour? Well, welcome to the universe of wingsuits, which now is reachable for passengers. The Sky Vibration Company is now offering a powerful experience of flight in its purest state as a passenger flying together with one of the few experienced wingsuit pilots, and what is important, everyone can try. The wingsuit tandem is the result of years of testing and development, offers unique sensations and an immersion in the exceptional adventure of human flight. Much more than a tandem jump, the Sky Vibration exclusive opens the door to a magical and dreamlike world. Do you want to give it a try? Travis Ludlow, aged 18 years and 149 days, has set a new Guinness World Record. He undertook the 25,000-mile solo flight, which took him 44 days to complete. This grueling expedition saw the teenager from Ipstone, Buckinghamshire, spend up to 8 hours a day manning his single-engine Cessna 172 aircraft, sometimes travelling as far as 1,000 miles in a single day without stopping. He beat the previous record holder, Mason Andrews, from Louisiana, USA, who was 18 years and 163 days old when he completed his journey in October 2018. His route, which started and finished in the Netherlands, saw him stop in 13 countries around the world. Netherlands, Poland, Russia, USA, Canada, Greenland, Iceland, UK, Ireland, Spain, Morocco, France and Belgium. He was also able to receive his second coronavirus jab during his journey, when he stopped in Texas, USA. Not so far away, east of Bergen City in Norway, there is an absolutely beautiful skydive region called Skydive Voss. I was actually scheduled to be there for the last 2 years, but because of travel restrictions, well, maybe next year. We just received these amazing shots from the Vico 21 camp. Just look at these. So after that kind of amazing skydiving background, I think it's about the right place for my first special guest this week. She started skydiving when she was only 15 and quickly fell in love with the sport. In 2008, she took a trip to Eloy, Arizona, and it literally changed her life. This is Domi Kija. I want to talk firstly about this amazing, beautiful project you've just done with Iris Van Herp. Where it is absolutely gorgeous, Tommy. The images are just pure art. Your flying, your hand movements, you're so elegant. It's beautiful. Where did it all come from?
So it all started from a random message on Instagram, and I was the first one surprised because, to be honest with you, if I was a fashion designer and I had to pick a female skydiver to do this kind of job, I don't think that would pick me. So at first I was a bit like, is this a scam? Is this for real? And so basically I was contacted by Iris's assistant, Maud Jessica, who told me that part of the next autumn and fall collection that Iris was working on, she took a lot of inspiration from skydiving. And Iris actually has done quite a few tandem jumps. The first one at 17 years old, and she's done quite a few over the years. And she said she had this vision of one of her dresses being flown in free fly, and was it possible, and was I interested in helping out? I was like, oh my god, yes, absolutely. And so yeah, that's how it started. And then it was basically 2 months collaboration of a lot of back and forth. Originally, I first made them, like I actually reached out to the community because I've never jumped in a dress before, but I know some of my girlfriends did it. Roberta Monchino was the one that gave me the most information and insights and photos and details, so she really helped me out on that. It was really nice of her. But also a lot of other girls in the community giving me pointers. So at first I made like a really long email to Iris's team with do's and don'ts and what is possible and what is not possible.
There was actually still a lot of fabric below your feet in flight.
Yeah, it was a little like the final dress that we flew was maybe 15-20 centimeters after my feet. So it was way shorter than this first prototype. But yeah, the idea was that we wanted to elongate the figure a little bit and not see my feet as well. I was jumping sport shoes underneath that.
And you can listen to and watch more interesting stories from this amazing athlete by watching the full-length interview with Domi on our YouTube channel. What does it mean to be a pro pilot in drone flight? And what does it mean to be a rookie or a newbie? Well, you can check it all out and compare in this amazing video released by Nicholas Christie. Nicholas and his friend Phil competed against each other in a cinematic drone FPV battle, using 3 different locations and performing 5-minute flight times per spot and having 3 hours to edit a cinematic 1-minute clip. As Phil is a pro pilot with more than 8 years of experience, they decided to give this challenge a little twist by also editing the videos by themselves. They explored some of the craziest landscapes on the beautiful island of Mallorca and risked everything in order to get the best shots possible. It's really worth a watch of this video, and it can be found on YouTube. Big-scale radio-controlled flying aircraft models can reach weights up to 5 or 15 kilograms on average. But what if I tell you that there is a team that built one of 149 kilograms, a flying model of 149, and it's Concorde? Would you believe me? Well, have a look at this. That is the most powerful RC airplane ever made, with the thrust from the 4 JetCat P300 turbine engines. Each of these have 300 newtons of thrust. This absolutely state-of-the-art Concorde has a length of 33 feet and a cockpit that can move down like the original to see the runway during takeoff and landing. Exhaust gas temperature is around 750 degrees Celsius and the exhaust speed is 2,160 kilometers an hour, and it looks fantastic. Well, flying simulators, especially during the pandemic, has had a massive influence on aviation. When you can't fly in the real world, you can choose the virtual one, which every year looks even more realistic. Just like in a flight simulator, now some of the real pilots present their testimony on what and how the virtual reality affects their flight experience. Take a look.
I did a flight in Microsoft Flight Sim from North Weald to Lydd. So I was looking for the landmarks that I would normally look for, the trees, the train lines, the roads, the rivers, the lakes, all of the stuff that a VFR pilot would look for. And then I did the flights in the real world with the GoPro cameras. Really, Microsoft Flight Simulator is unparalleled in its ability to look out the window, and what you see is pretty much what you will get when you go into the real world.
Competition on the eVTOL electric flying vehicles market is getting stronger and tighter. Who knows, maybe within a few years from now we'll start to travel just like the Jetsons family or the heroes of the Hollywood sci-fi movies. Anyway, we now have a new player on this interesting market, and it is the Aska flying car. It looks like an SUV and could take off using a set of retractable wings. Dubbed Aska, which means flying bird in Japanese, the world's first drive and fly aerial mobility vehicle has been made for pre-order. This 4-seater vehicle can drive on the road like a car and is capable of a vertical takeoff and landing, as well as short takeoff and landing, and flies like an aircraft with a range of up to 250 miles, powered by the electric motors, and features a range extender as a redundant safety system. And now it's time for our Gordon Bennett update section. Mark Sullivan, as a balloon pilot, ranked second all-time in the number of Gordon Bennett races flown. Together with his teammate Sherry White, they have finished as high as third in the Gordon Bennett in 2009 and are 2 times American Challenge champions. And I had the privilege to speak with this great US team. Take a look. So Mark Sullivan, Sherry White, beautiful location where you are. It's good to see you again. How are you?
Good. We're actually getting to fly again. This is our 3rd event this month. So
3rd this month.
Yeah.
What is the event?
Back in the US, so it's good.
Yes. And what is it? What are you doing?
We're doing hot air balloons for Touchstone Energy. Right now we're in Pine Top, Arizona. Unfortunately, the wildfires are happening, so we're just doing tethers and glows. But at least we're out with the public. It feels good to be out again.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've been back in the skies a little bit. It is amazing after 15 months. It really, really is. The last time I saw you two, I was helping you to pack away your basket and balloon in France at the end of the last Gordon Bennett.
That's true.
And
That's 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Oh my gosh.
2 years
Wow.
ago. And I just remembered something quite interesting. We were talking about the harnesses you have inside the basket. Tell me a bit about those.
You want to tell them?
Well, we just added those maybe about 3 years ago. We've got they're like seat belts, and we wear them when we get ready to land. And what they do is they keep us in the basket, and we can actually cinch them down so we're in the bottom of the basket in case we were to do a doghouse where the basket flips over. It keeps us in the bottom, away from all the equipment, and safe. And we really like them. I don't know why we flew so many years without them, but.
Yeah, it seems like one of those perfect fixes. Like the first time somebody put wheels on a suitcase, one of those things that you should have, you know?
Yeah, well, it keeps you stable when you're trying to, hold especially when it's windy and the wind's trying to force the top back in the balloon. It helps you stabilize and hold on to the ripcord. So they're really nice.
Husband and wife partnership Barbara Frick and Peter Cuneo from the US have been flying gas balloons together since 1997, and their top tip is to pick a partner that you trust completely. The secret is to really trust each other. In 2016, Frick and Cuneo finished the championships, clocking up more than 1,000 kilometers in just 41 hours. Let's find out more. How did you get involved, Barbara? When did gas ballooning begin for you?
Gas ballooning began for me in the late 90s, and it was after Peter got into it. I got into hot air first, but he got into gas ballooning first. So he was the one who got interested in it and got his restriction removed from the U.S. certificate first. And then I went and flew with him, and I love it because I like flying longer, and the unknown of exactly where you're going to be is intriguing to me. So I like gas ballooning.
Yeah. What about you, Peter?
Yeah, I started out joining a club that was building a gas balloon from a kit, and it started out with being about 6 people, and about 4 of them didn't really drop out but didn't participate very actively. And so me and one other person pretty much were reduced to building the balloon, and then one of the other people did drop out, and brought Barbara in as an official co-owner of that balloon, and we built that and flew it several times. Then we stepped up to a little bit better gas balloon and got a little bit more serious about it. And from that point, it's been kind of a slippery slope downhill.
Fantastic. Tell me about your gas ballooning experience with competition. What's your connection with Gordon Bennett and the American Challenge?
Well, we've been doing American Challenge ever since I got into it. Peter flew one America's Challenge flight with another balloon pilot from the group that built his first balloon. And after that, we flew our first one, and he said, "That's it, I'm only flying with you in competition from now on."
You can watch the full-length interviews with the 2021 Gordon Bennett teams on the official gordonbennett.aero website. The interviews from our show today will be there to watch in a few days from now. On the 10th of July 1962, the first communications relay satellite, Telstar 1, was launched into Earth orbit from the Cape Canaveral Air Force Station in Florida. This launch vehicle was a 3-stage liquid-fueled Delta rocket. This was the first commercial spaceflight sponsored by a consortium of communication companies and government organisations, including AT&T, Bell Labs, the BBC, NASA, and the British and French postal services. On the 10th of July 1982, the first scheduled jet airliner flown in the United States with an all-female crew was Piedmont Airlines Flight 328 from Norfolk, Virginia to Newark, New Jersey. This airliner was a Boeing 737. Captain Cheryl Faye Peters and First Officer Rebecca Rose Schroeder were on the flight deck. The flight attendants were Paula Lanier, Dolly Waynett, and Cindy Perry. The duration of the flight was 1 hour and 1 minute. On the 11th of July 1935, Laura Hortingling Ingalls took off from Floyd Bennett Field, Brooklyn, New York, and flew non-stop across the North American continent to the Union Air Terminal at Burbank, California. She landed there at 7:51 p.m. The elapsed time of a non-stop transcontinental flight was 18 hours, 19 minutes and 30 seconds. This was only the 3rd time that a non-stop transcontinental flight had been accomplished. On the 12th of July 1936, Louise Thaden set an FEI world record for speed over 100 kilometers with an average speed of 176.35 kilometers an hour. She flew a Portersfield Model 35W flyabout over a course at Endless Caverns near Newmarket, Virginia. Later, Thaden became the first woman to win the Bentix Trophy race when she and her co-pilot Blanche Noyes flew a Beechcraft Staggerwing aircraft from Floyd Bennett Field, Brooklyn, New York to Minnis Field, Los Angeles, California. That's it for this week, guys. As always, you can contact us using the addresses displayed on the screen right now. I'll be waiting for you back here again next week at 1900 UTC with a new fresh bunch of air sports news. I'm leaving you with a great time-lapse video from Lithuania, where a few days ago an amazing hot air balloon fiesta took place. So until then, stay safe and keep your eyes on the skies.